been snowing. It's stopped now and it's going quite bright, but it is very cold outside. Janice is saying that all the snow's gone and it's a lovely bright day in Swansea as well, where she is. But Janice has said that it is in Sudbury in Suffolk now. It snowed really heavy last night. I had a very excited little boy when he woke up. But thankfully, school's still open and we were able to, I've got my big snow pants on, put my boots on, and we were able to walk around to the school. And yeah, no snowmen, I don't think. I think it'll have completely melted by the time he gets home. But how are you all doing? What have you been up to? How are you today? It is, if I'm not mistaken, Friday. So hopefully we're going to have a lovely weekend ahead of us. Good morning to Lucy. She says hello to you all. Today I'm going to be using the silver foil beads again because they're just gorgeous. I'm going to be using a different shape this time. And I'm going to be showing you how to make them into chain with little crystals interspersed throughout them. But I'm going to be playing around with some wire. Now, this is a wire project, but it doesn't need anything too detailed. There's no weaving or wrapping or anything like that. It's just to kind of add that little extra decorative prettiness to the front of it. So we're going to be doing some wrap loops, and we're going to be making some lovely necklaces. There's 4 gorgeous colours for you to choose from, but Simon has popped the link on the page, so you can go and have a little look at all the other colours and different shapes as well that might take your fancy. So I'm going to say a quick good morning to you all before I go over to the website. Good morning to Carol, hello to Kath, hello to Elaine. The Elaines have come in together, so hello to Elaine Emerson and hello to Elaine Fee, and they both say good morning. Good morning to Camille. She says good morning, Natalie. It was sunny earlier, no more snow here. Hope everybody's keeping warm. It's just been, we've had like literally all seasons in 1 week. So it started off as being beautifully bright, very cold, but beautifully bright days, and then heavy rain, and then little snowflakes and sleet, and then big snowflakes last night. But the sun's come out now, and it seems to be melting. Good morning to Kim. Hello to Janice. Hello to Leslie Joy. Just good morning, Natalie. Snow's just stopped here. Good morning to Dulce. Good morning to Debbie. And hello to David. He says good morning. Cold and torrential rain here, windy. Just bought all 4 of the necklaces, a really good bargain. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate it. So let's go over to the website and you can see what we've got for you today. I've already come into it, so I'm going to go back out just so you can see where we are, how to get in if you've forgotten. So we're on TotallyBeads.co.uk, and you can find our video tutorials here in the category. Just there. You can see it at the top of the page here, or you can scroll down there onto the main menu as well. Don't forget, we do ship worldwide, so if you want to see how much these absolute beauties are going to cost you in your currency, you can click on the currency converter at the top and select what it is you would like to pay with. So here we go into video tutorials for you today. And we are doing the Sophie necklace. I love the name Sophie. Sophie means wisdom, and they are very, very pretty. So here we go in Sophie necklace. Now, if you click here on this silver foil rectangles, it will show you all the other beads. I don't think if I click that, it's going to show you it. I think it's going to take me over to another page. So let me just check. Yeah, it's not showing, but I will try and show that for you as well. Now I am getting a notification at the moment saying some of the streams are having technical issues. I know we had a few issues with Facebook the other day when Kitty was live, and a lot of you all found us on the YouTube page. If you can see me, hear me, and see this okay, can you let me know in the comments? And I will show you each of the kits as we go. So we've got the Sophie necklace in amethyst AB, lime green, pink AB, and a beautiful teal colour. They are only £5.99 for each of your kits today, but you can also get that 2 for £10 as well. You're going to get all sorts in your kit to make this necklace. It's a very simple make, but we've just given you loads of lovely things. So the wire that we're using today is the 0.6mm wire. You're going to get 125 centimeters of that, which is going to be more than enough to make this design. For each of the beautiful silver foil rectangle beads, I'm using about 15 centimeters of the wire. And to make the wrap loops on the gorgeous little crystal rondelles, I'm using about 5 centimeters. So you're going to have more than enough in there to make this design up. So you're getting your wire, you're getting some oval jewellery chain as well, lovely and delicate. It's 3.25mm. If you want to make that longer, you can use the chain that you've been given in your kits. If you need to make it smaller and you want it to sit higher up, then you can just use less of it. I'm using about 20 centimeters here, so 10 centimeters on either side, just to run around the back of your neck so it sits comfortably. But you can see here, if you want to use all of it, it's going to sit lower. Obviously, this is just a little bust, it's not a real person, so it will sit differently. But if you want to sit it higher up, then you can just use less of that chain. You're also going to get your lobster clasp, which is 12mm. You're getting 16 pieces of your 6mm jump rings, and we're going to be linking our beautiful beads together with that. Now, if you want to, you can connect your wrap loops directly together, and you don't have to include those jump rings. But I think doing it with the jump rings is really nice because it's still very sturdy. It adds that extra kind of detailed chain look into the main body of your necklace. And also, you don't have to panic if you forget to attach the next one before you wrap that loop. So we've included all those jump rings for you as well today. Of course, you are getting the most beautiful silver foil rectangle beads. Now, these are 24mm. They're a beautiful, beautiful size. The silver foil beads, you know I absolutely adore. You've got that silver foil core that runs inside of the coloured glass, and they are handmade. So they are absolutely beautiful, really exquisite looking beads, and I think they make an absolute beautiful statement necklace like this. And of course, you're going to get your crystal rondelle beads as well. So you're only going to need 7 of those just to kind of change them. So we're going to go for the rectangle beads and the rondelles in between. This colorway is going to be on your gold colored wire. It's a beautiful, beautiful color, and all those findings are going to match. So you can see here in different angles, this is your amethyst AB. We've got that offer on. They are £5.99 per kit, or you can get 2 for £10 if you can't decide which color you like. I'm just going to very quickly just check that I'm running okay and everybody can see everything all right. This one is the lime green. Again, everything you need in your kits today to make this beautiful necklace. This is also going to be on the gold colorway in terms of your chain and your findings, so your clasp and your jump rings and that wire, of course. But they are the most beautiful lime green color. And I'm just using that wire just to kind of decorate the edges of the beads and just give them a little bit of extra pretty. Everything you need in your kit today for the lime green one, still only £5.99. Now, if you would prefer to do this in silver, we've got 2 colours in the silver colourway for you as well. So you're going to get your silver wire, which is your 0.6mm wire. You're going to get that jewellery chain, your lobster clasp, your jump rings, and of course you're getting those gorgeous silver foil rectangle beads, this time in pink AB, and you're going to get those crystal rondelles to match as well. If you're ever unsure, you can usually scroll to the bottom of the page just to say, well, which are the crystals that we're using with these, and you can see them down there at the bottom. Just for your silver foil rectangle beads and your crystal rondelles, if you look at the prices of those individually and then look how much you're paying for this kit, you're obviously getting all your findings in there, the chain in there, and the wire in there as well. £5.99 is an absolute bargain. Again, 2 for £10 if you can't decide. And lastly, we've got this absolutely stunning teal colour for you. I love this colour. I think I'm going to demo with the amethyst today, just because I love how that looks against the gold. But we've also got this teal for you. They're absolutely stunning. They look perfectly matched, if I do say so myself, with these gorgeous teal Crystal Rondelles that you're getting. They're just beautiful colours. So this one is your teal colourway, £5.99, everything you need in your kit, or 2 for £10. What I am going to do is I'm going to show you what, if I can, if I click on this silver foil rectangle button here. So if I stop sharing that link, and let's see if I can share this one for you. So if you click on this button, it's going to take you here, and that's going to show you all the gorgeous silver foil square rectangle beads that you can choose from. Yes, it is showing brilliant. So let me just get back on that. So if you wanted to have a little look at what other colours you can get, this one's mixed. Then you can have a little look in here. Obviously, we've got the rectangles for you, which are 24mm, but you might want to use the squares instead. The squares would also work lovely with this design and will be exactly the same way in terms of it working. You'll probably just need a little bit less wire because these are only 12mm. So you can choose from aqua, blue, brown, dark amethyst, gold, green, grey, light brown, light olive, light teal, lilac. You'll see we've got absolutely loads and loads of colours there for you. So if you feel like you want to add extra colours, you want to mix them up, then by all means have a little look here. And it'll also explain the details. So they are handmade silver foil lampwork beads. These ones particularly are the 24mm flat rectangles. They're a mixed colour on this strand. So you can see, because they are handmade, they will slightly vary in terms of, you know, the shape on them, but they've all got the most beautiful finish. They are your dimensions in terms of the thickness, the hole size and whatnot, and you're going to get 16 beads per string on that one. So if you wanted to add some extras into your kit, you can do. They are £4.95 each for those beautiful rectangles. And if you wanted the squares, you can get them too, which are £7.95. If I show you the squares, you can see the reason why they're more expensive is because you're getting a whopping 32 beads per string on that. They're absolutely stunning. I know I'm using them quite a little bit. I tend to use them like every couple of weeks because I just love them. Obviously, I get very excited when we get something new in, but they're just so very beautiful, and they're always very popular as well. They do sell out quickly, so if you want them, I would head over to the website and have a little look. Let me just scroll back through the comments just to check I've not missed anything. Hello to Kim, hello to Janice, hello to Leslie. I've said hello to Dulce. Good morning to Debbie. Hello to David. Hello to Amelia. Good morning to Hannah. She says, good morning, everybody. She's not had any snow, just loads of rain, and it's dry but cloudy at the moment. Good morning to Karen. Hello to Sheila. She says she's got lots of snow in Washington, Tyne and Weir. And Nicole's in. Hello to you, my love. She says, hi, Natalie and fellow beaders. Very early, 2 a.m. in raining Oregon. Thank you so much for joining me. Lucy says, ooh, these look nice. Good morning to Anne. Hello to Angel. She says, good morning from Idaho. Hello to you. Hello to Robin, who's watching all the way in a cold and blustery New Jersey. So she's had a dusting of snow. Lucy has shared the link for you today. So if you want to find out where you can get your kits and how we're going to make them, head over here to totallybeads.co.uk/Facebook-tutorials/Sophie-necklace. Thank you very much, Lucy. Good morning to Treen. She's watching from, is it Denmark you're in, Treen? She says, love to see this tutorial when you're showing them. I'm showing them now, so welcome. Kath says she can see me okay, as can Camille, so that's good. Anne's on Facebook, so they all should be working hopefully today. I don't know what's going on with settings and things, okay, but apparently you can all see and hear me okay. Lucy likes the pink one. There's a surprise. Hello to Janice. David says it's loud and clear as well. Hello to Joanne. She said it's been snowing all morning again and it looks beautiful outside. I did take a few photographs. When my little one woke up, he was so excited and he was just speaking very loudly. Like, I'm quite loud naturally anyway, but I was like, he's looking out the curtain in my bedroom, and I'm like, why are you shouting so loud? And he's just so excited. But I did take a couple of photographs because it did look very, very pretty. Good morning to Sharon. Hello to Smoffy. She says she can see me fine, or they say they can see me fine on YouTube. Hello to Tracy. Hello to Angela. Good morning to Mina. Oh, school's closed where Mina is, so she can work from home today. I'm so glad our school's open, because I wouldn't be able to do this with you with a little one next to me wanting to play with my beads. Good morning to Judith. She says, hi Natalie and everybody, cold, bright and snow on the ground in West Lothian. Hello to Diane. Hello to Leslie Joy again, who says it's snowing in Peterborough. Mina says the teal with the gold will be lovely. It would be. I wanted to do 2 of each colourway. So I wanted to do 2 silver and 2 gold. But I do actually think that the teal would look beautiful with the silver. So why don't you get that offer with the buy 2 offer on? Good morning to Alison. Hello, my lovely. She says it's snowy and cold in Yorkshire. Good morning to Francis and Olivia. David says they're absolutely beautiful because of the silver foil core inside. Hello to Ornelia in Roma. Oh, wow, how wonderful. Good morning to Susan in snowy Suffolk. David said it's now snowing. He was getting a load of rain before in Frinton. Diane's got clear blue sky and a dust and a snow. Francis is saying it's sunny but cold in Perth. Esther's in a cold and sunny Preston. Lindsay's in. It's snowing there too, but it's not settling as it's too wet. And Sharon would like an amethyst pink or a lime teal would look nice together. Let me take you down on the mat. I'm very excited. You can tell because I'm talking a million miles an hour. So slow down. Let's look at these beads. I'm going to have a little sip of my coffee while you have a look at these beauties. Now, you can definitely mix these colours, and that's why Simon's kindly put that link on as well to all of the different square and rectangle silver foil beads. Let me get this one in shot. So you can see it has coloured glass around it and a beautiful core of silver foil. They are handmade, which means when you're making handmade jewellery, to have handmade beads in there as well just makes everything just that little bit extra special. We've got those beautiful crystals, a little bit of focus, running in between, and I'm just doing some little wrap loops using 1 length of wire, so it's all 1 gauge, just at 0.6 millimeters, and that's going to create this lovely little shape. And you can do whatever you want with the shape on that. I'm going to show you how to do them this way. Look at the teal. They're just beautiful, and I just love them with those crystals. I think they look so very pretty. Camille is waiting for a second coffee from the hubby. Oh, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody waiting on you, Camille? These are those gorgeous lime green colours. They're just exquisite. And although they've got that silver foil core running through them, I think it looks beautiful with the gold, because the lime colour on this, I think, just gives it that kind of goldish tone against that silver, if that makes any sense. Lucy says, gorgeous beads. She's trying to be good, but I'm making it very difficult. I can't help it. I just see them and think, oh, I need to play with them. And then if my camera will catch up, there we go. These are your beautiful amethyst. And this is what I'm going to be demoing with for you today. So you can see they're a lovely large shape and size. They're not too heavy, and they look the same either side, but you can see that these are handmade. They're just beautiful. Oh, Camille, you lucky duck. She says he does with breakfast every morning. But as I say, you can do whatever you want with these. If you're going to get that strand, buy the extras, you're going to get loads on there. So I've also made some earrings. I've popped a little bit of the amethyst crystal on that. Come on, give me some focus. And I've used the crystals that I'm getting in my kit with the lime green. I've popped it on the gold wire, still using the same amount, but instead of doing it where I've created that kind of curve on each corner, this one I've just done a little zigzag with, and I've just used my pliers to make a lovely pair of earrings. So there's lots that you can do with these. Good morning, Ruth. How are you doing? Right, let's get started. So I'm going to start just wrapping my beads, and then I'll start attaching them together. So to wrap this one, if I can move that, Alison says she really likes the look of these. Wrapping the wire around the larger beads like that really softens them, and wrapped loops make a secure connection. Yes, they absolutely do. So to use my rectangle gorgeous beads, I'm going to cut a length of about 15 centimeters. Now I'm going to use 6 beads in this design. So you're going to need, what's that? Is that 90 centimeters? I'm not great at maths, but it's all been calculated for you, so you're going to have enough. So I'm going to cut my wire, which is my 0.6 wire, at 15 centimeters. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm just going to hold that. I would say, let's see, I've gotten about 4 centimeters up here, which is about 1.5 inches. Just drop my wire on the floor. You don't really need an awful lot, but you can gauge it as you go. You know, a couple of centimeters will do from the end of that wire. I'm going to bend it around the top of my round nose pliers, and then I'm going to turn my round nose pliers. I've gone from holding it this way to holding those 2 ends of my round nose at the top and the bottom of that bend. And I'm going to bring that loop all the way around, readjusting my pliers so I can get it all the way around. So it's created that little eye shape. And I'm going to pretend like this is the little head, this is the body, and as it's snowing outside, we're going to make a little person with a little scarf. So I've now just swapped over my hands because I'm going to use my more dominant hand to wrap this loop. So I've held that loop in my round nose pliers. If you want to, you can hold your pliers over the loop to keep it in place like this, but I tend to find I'm okay with just keeping it inside my round nose. I'm only using a couple of millimeters up from the end of the tip of my round nose because I don't want massively large loops. And then I'm going to bring it round once, all the way again, twice, and then one more, because I think 3 wraps around tends to look particularly nice and is sturdy enough. Now each time I've wrapped that round, you can see there I've just brought that wire round directly under the last one, so it's not going over the top. I'm sorry, Teresa, she's having a sneaky peek at work, so I'll be a little bit quieter. Good morning to Pauline, and hello to Angela as well. And thank you, Ruth. She says, press that like button. Give us a like, help boost the channel, and subscribe if you haven't done already. Thanks, Ruth. So once I've wrapped that round 3 times, if you want to, you can keep that little tail end on. And then if you feel like you want to adjust it by adding an extra wrap so it's snug around that bead, you can do. Or if you want to, you can just come in with your cutters, trim the little extra bit off if you've got it. And then just with your pliers, I'm going to tuck that down. I don't want any scratchy bits. Just want that nicely tucked in. And now I'm going to slide on my gorgeous rectangle bead. So that's going to sit up here. And don't worry if obviously you've got different sized kind of holes in some of these. Sometimes it might be a little bit wider and it might just cover that wrapped loop a little bit. It doesn't matter, as long as I've got a little bit sticking out so I can wrap round again. So now I'm going to bend that wire on the other side, and I'm going round the round nose pliers to create that bend because it's going to give me a few millimeters, which is going to enable me to be able to wrap that wire round again. So it only needs to be a little bit. I'm bending the wire and I'm doing exactly the same. Don't worry if your bead spins round, doesn't matter at the moment. I'm going to do exactly the same. So I'm creating that loop, And I'm just going to make sure that my loop is nice and sitting upright. Made quite a larger loop there, so I'm just going to slightly adjust and knock it back into shape. And you can do this with your fingers. The 0.6 is a lovely wire, so if you want to do it with your fingers to bring that round, you can do. If you want to use your tools, you can. I just want to make sure that each wrap is just sitting under the next one. So I'm going to push that down. I'm leaving that tail end on. I'm not cutting it just yet. I'm just going to give it a little twist to make sure my loops are sitting in the same direction. And I'm going to take the tail end of my wire and I'm going over that little corner and then bringing it round the back of the bead like so and up around the opposite corner here. So all I've done is just brought that end round just to catch those corners in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure that wire back around the neck of that first loop. So back in with my round nose pliers is just going to give me that support to hold on to it and a little bit of grip. And then I can bring that wire around. It will twist, so don't worry. You can do it again, as I say, with your fingers if you need to. Or if it's easy, you can hold it in place by just popping your pliers over that loop. So I'm going to bring it round. Get that wire into position. And again, wrapping round just a couple of times, just to secure it on. Either trim off any excess or push down with your pliers to secure. Now you might find you've got this little bit of space between the wire. Can we get a bit of focus on that? There you go. So you can see it's not hugging that bead really, really tightly. And that's good. That's what we want, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my fingers just to push those ends in a little bit. So using my thumb, just pushing that wire against the bead, and that's creating like a little curve on those corners, but it's also tightening that wire around the bead. Francis is saying you make it look easy. I don't think I made that look quite as easy as it is, but you're going to be doing 6 of these. They don't all have to be absolutely identical, and it is very easy because all you're doing is just bringing that wire around. So I'm going to continue on with that. I'm going to take my wire. I'm going to cut it to approximately 15 centimeters. So I'm just going to come in with my cutters and trim that off. I'm going to move a few, maybe an inch and a bit down from the end of my wire, bending it over my pliers, reposition my plier, bring it round. As I've got it coming down parallel with that other wire, I'm just readjusting my wrist to get myself out the way so I can bring that right the way round to start making my first loop. I'm going to wrap it once all the way. And you can do this in like half turns if you need to. So go round the wire, back under the wire, over the top of the wire, back under the wire. So I've wrapped 3 times to create that little loop. Now what I'm going to show you is if you wanted to leave this on, you can do, because when I've created that other loop, if it doesn't, if you've got a little bit of a gap between your bead and that last wrap, you can still wrap more. But obviously, whatever you bring back round on this end is going to wrap there anyway. So it really doesn't matter, I don't think, using this technique. You can trim it off after your 3rd wrap and just tuck that down. So what I'm doing is I'm just popping my pliers, my round nose, back into the loop, just while I come in with my other set of pliers, just to squish down. We want to make sure those ends are nice and flush against that wire, so it's not going to drag against your skin. It's not going to kind of snag on any clothing or anything. What you might want to do is you might want to attach your bead on, and if you feel like that wrap loop is going into the bead, just flip it round the other way, the bead, and you'll find that probably that hole on the other side is a little bit smaller. So you can just gauge it by eye. I just don't want that loop fully inside the bead if I can help it. Back in on the other side with my round nose pliers, readjusting my wrist so I can create that loop again on the other side. Back in with the round nose, just bringing it round with my fingers to begin with. If you want to, swap hands, and then you can use your tools in your dominant hand just to wrap that round. So I've created 3 wraps around the other side. And again, I'm just going to make sure that my loops are kind of sitting parallel against each other. Going to hold down that piece of wire over that first corner, bringing it round the bead, back up the other corner. So it's just going around, straight line on the back of the bead, and then back around the other corner. So we're just getting those 2 corners. They remind me of sweeties. They are so pretty. Pinching in with my fingers to hold it in place so I can get hold of that tail end to wrap it round. Now you can trim it if you need to, but I think having 15 centimeters is enough really to just be able to tuck it in. You can leave it like that, or you can come in with your thumbs and your fingers and just create that little curve by pushing that wire in, which tightens it up nicely around the back so it's nice and snug there. And then just check that these are straight. If you need to readjust them, pliers over the end just to straighten them up. So it's looking like this. And I'm going to repeat that 6 times, and then I'm going to start doing my beads, which will work in a similar way. So I'm cutting my length of wire, just running that through my fingers just to kind of straighten out any kinks. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but using this gauge of wire for a project like this is just lovely because, you know, it's not putting too much pressure on my hands. It's a nice gauge. It's soft. It is, you know, easy to work with. You can use your nylon coated pliers. If you want to straighten that out, you can use a little cloth to run through your fingers, whatever you want to do. So just getting any major kinks off that might have it from the reel. Let's put them to the side. Move this out the way. So maybe 1.5 inches from the top. If you feel like you've got a lot of excess wire when you've wrapped this round, you can always make that starting point a little higher up the wire if you want to. Coming in with my pliers in my dominant hand, just want to push that up a little bit. Am I in shot okay? Bringing it round once, all the way round, picking it back up again to go twice, all the way round, and a 3rd time. So I just tend to do it in half turns. Over the top, picking it back up just so I can reposition my wrist so I'm not getting myself caught up. I'm just gently pulling it from the front to the back. So I've got my 3 little wraps there. Trim off any excess. And if you want to, if you find that you don't have quite tight enough wraps, you can take your pliers and just give it a little squish, that way as well, if you wanted to move it up the wire a little bit. They don't have to be perfect, but they will look very, very pretty, and you've got that kind of organic look with the wire with those little kind of curves into it. Okay, sliding on my bead again, popping my round nose. So I'm still using maybe a few millimeters up from the end of the round nose, just so when I create that bend, there's that little bit of space between the bead and the wire bend so I can wrap that loop around there. reposition my hand, making sure I've got a nice kind of eye, like a lollipop shaped loop at the top, rather than a P, so it's sitting nice, and bringing it round with my hand first, just to lock it in place. And then I'm going to use my tools. So I've wrapped once, twice, 3 times, just to fill that space between the loop and the bead. I'm going over the first corner, so I'm just going to hold that loop in place, just so that wire will sit where I want it to. So I'm holding it between my finger and my thumb to bring it round the back of that loop, and just enough to catch that top. So if you feel like there's not quite enough, just push it round with your finger just to tighten it, just so you've got enough to get hold of, so you can tighten it round that end bit. Tuck in any ends that you need to, and again, just use your nail or your thumb just to push those ends in a tiny little bit to create that kind of curve shape, so that wire is hugging the bead nicely. Nina says, oh, I might wrap some big rose quartz beads like this. It's an easy way to do it, and you can kind of just add that little bit of extra detail onto your beads. Camille says, no comments, everyone's watching you so intently. I mean, I can see people watching, but I do sometimes panic a little bit if it goes quiet. But then that's good. Maybe you've not got any questions or any tips, and I'm explaining it properly. So again, just making that little wrap loop to begin with. You can wrap as many times as you want. If you want to do 4 wraps, you can do 4 wraps. If you want to do 2 wraps, you can do 2. I just quite like 3 wraps. I think it gives me the nice distance and the space. But again, I've got that little tail end, so I don't probably need to be going as high up or as further down rather when I start that loop. But I would rather make sure I've got that little bit extra rather than not enough. I do tend to find if I don't feel like I've got quite enough when I first start, I'll show you how to do that instead in a minute. So instead of going round, I would then bring it. So if I don't feel like I have enough wire there to do my loops, rather than re-straighten out my wire, what I tend to do is I would then bring that round, and I'm still going to create that shape by bringing the other part of the wire around. Does that make sense? And then I can still then have enough to create my wrap. So there's lots of different ways you can make those wrap loops. I just find following the technique I've been showing you originally is easier for me and keeps it more uniform. But providing that you've got a loop and it's secured, all I'm doing here is just adjusting that wire, because I want to make sure that that wrap is sitting underneath and they're not kind of overlapping each other. So I'm just going to reposition it by giving it a little push down. Am I in shot? Can you see I've got some focus? I'm just pushing it together just to squish that down. And then I often find that just turning the wire rather than trying to position my hand will mean I can just gently get that little end squished in. So it still gives the same effect. You just need to make sure you kind of knock your loop back into position so it's sitting central on the top of that wrap. So this is the way I usually do it. That's the way I've shown you slightly differently, bringing the wire around, and it still works exactly the same. Leslie Joyce say, all very pretty, spoiled for choice, got to go. Have a lovely day, my love. Oh, Mina, she says, I'm trying to work and I've got both kids at home too. Have a coffee, my love. Keep deep breathing. Lacey says your loops are super neat. It's so relaxing watching you. Thank you very much. Paula says, I haven't caught up with you in so long. Beautiful necklace. Thank you very much. Yeah, Camille's rooting for you as well, Mina. She says, you can do it. Lots of multitasking. Make yourself a list, Mina. If I ever find that I've got so much going on in my head and I don't feel like I'm being productive enough to get things done, I just write it down. And then I'll often write down something as basic as make myself a coffee. And then if I've completed a task already, I also pop that on the list just so I can cross it out. So all I've done there is when I slid that bead on, I thought that's going into that bead a little bit too much. So that hole's a little bit wider. So I've just slid the bead off and flipped it round because it's the same on all sides. And now it's catching properly. So I've got that little bit of space. It doesn't matter if it's bigger this side because I'm going to be wrapping round. So I'm going to be making sure that the bulk of that wire doesn't fall back in, if that makes sense. If it does move down again, then the extra wire I'm bringing round will secure at the top to hold it in place. Pauline says, I need more practice with wrap loops. Yours look so easy. Well, follow this technique, Pauline, and you should be fine. So I'm holding a few millimeters down from my tip. I'm going to have to speed up. Look at the time. I'm going round. And I am just going to do it very quickly with my fingers because I've been chatting to you so much and taking my time, but I want to show you how to do it. So all I'm doing is making sure my loop is sitting where I need to, holding it with my thumb to bring that wire round, catching both corners and leaving myself enough of a little tail just to bring it back around the neck of the original wrap loop that I started with. Tucking it in. Make sure it's all tucked in. Push it with your fingers just to create that little curve on those kind of corners. They don't have to be exactly the same. I tend to find that one's always that little bit longer, and I quite like that look because even if they are slightly different on each end, when I start to put them all together, they all look similar enough. I've got one more to do before I have to start doing the beads. Oh, thank you for being with us, Lindsay. It's lovely to have you here. So again, on with the bead, wrapping it round, making sure my loop is neat and central. I rushed this one, so it could be neater. I'll slow down, I'll take my time, we've got time. Wrapping that round 3 times at the top, holding my loop in place while I first catch that corner. So I'm holding it this way. I'm doing the top left corner round the back of the wire just to catch the right corner. Bring that round, bring it with my fingers just at first to lock it into place. Just going to open it up again and readjust. So I want it sitting, if I can, towards the bottom of that wrap. Again, don't worry if this wrap moves a little bit. You can readjust them at the end. Going right round with that wire. You can trim it off if you need to. And make sure that I'm tucking in. With my fingers, pushing into the corners, and then just straighten up my loops. Okay, so I'm going to make 6 of these in total, just to repeat that process. And then I'm going to have 7 of my gorgeous crystals in between on those links. Now, to do my crystals, I only need 5 centimetres there or thereabouts of my wire. So I'm going to cut my wire into lengths of 5 centimetres. And I'm going to do exactly the same. Paula says, I love this technique, so effective and so pretty. Camille, thank you. She says, no rush, for enjoying watching you. And just like, I've got 15 minutes left. So this time I'm only going to go up. It's more than halfway. So I'm leaving myself a couple of centimetres. I'm going to bring round, again, just using the tip of my round nose. I only want those small wraps. Bringing it round. And then I'm going to wrap my wire around. Again, I like to do 3 wraps, but if you haven't got quite enough, it doesn't really matter, as long as you've got at least 2 just to hold it in place. And tuck down that end. I'm going to add on my crystal. I'm going to push that crystal right up to that last wrap. So when I bend my wire over the top, I've still got the same amount of space either side. And I'm going to wrap this one round so it fills that space. So that bead will stop sliding up and down. Just swapping into my other hand. So my dominant hand can take my pliers. And I'm going to wrap that round 3 times, or however many it takes, just to fill that space. I'm going to trim off the excess of my wire and popping it back into my round nose, just so I've got something to grip when I tuck that end in. And then I'm going to repeat that, so I've got those crystals 7 times. So again, just going, I would say just over halfway on my wire. Bringing it round, reposition my hand so I can get underneath to give him his little scarf. I want that loop to be close up to these wraps. Wrap round at least twice, tucking in the end, slide on my crystal, and then create the other loop the other side. So I'm getting those double connectors, and using the wire is really good because it's really nice and soft. You can do wrap loops with a thicker gauge of wire, so you could probably do them with an 8, but I find any more than an 8 is a little bit tough and a little bit tricky. I wouldn't use a when I say an 8, I mean a 0.8. I wouldn't use a 1mm wire, really, because I found it just gets a little bit tricky to wrap. If I was using a 1mm wire, I'd just turn a loop as normal. It wouldn't be a wrap loop. So holding just over halfway to create my first, swapping over in my hand. So when I've created that loop, it's coming with a focus, nice and close. So as I bring that wire round, my first wrap is gonna, sorry, it's because I'm trying to be under the camera. My first wrap is gonna sit tight under that loop. Making sure I'm tucking in. Hi Claire, says hi, I haven't been able to be here much later, but I did get my top fan badge this week. Yay, well done, congratulations. Does that mean you're more likely to be notified of things that we do? I've been told I've got top fan badges for a few things, but I don't really know what it means. Okay, so just going to fill that space on the other side by wrapping that loop. If you want to make sure you've got the same amount of wraps on each side, and again, I don't think it overly matters, but if you want to do them perfectly, then I'm gonna slow down and show you how to do that. That's sometimes why I would tend to leave a little bit of a tail, just so I can readjust, because I've got an extra loop on that side than the other side there. Again, it doesn't overly matter. So I'm going to take 5 centimeters. I'm absolutely melting now. I know my husband's not watching, but I wish he was, because I'd ask him to switch that radiator down next to me, because I'm melting. Claire Lou says it means I'm awesome and you are too. Brilliant. Ooh, Camille says, mine too. I've got a diamond and a number 5. No clue what that means. Does it mean you've been watching? You can't have been watching for 5 years, Camille. I don't know. Maybe you have. Okay, so I'm going just over halfway on my wire. I'm going to turn. To create that wrap. What I would do is, if I had excess wire, I've got enough just for 3 wraps there, but if I had excess wire, then I would leave that tail end on, attach the other bead, create my loop at the top. I would wrap the same amount of times on the other side, and then if I needed to, if I had that little bit of space between the bead and I didn't want that bead to be moving up and down, then I would, I'm very, very hot. I've got sweaty hands as well now. I would just bring that extra wire around the other side so I can get them perfectly matching. Just going to get those pliers just to stick that end in. Oh, I'm absolutely melting. I've also got my big snow pants on, which I don't think is helping. Okay, how many more of them do I need to do? Another 2. Just going to open this door behind me. And I'm going to turn down the radiator. Do bear with me. Wait till the camera comes back up. You'll be like, well, she's an absolute sweaty mess. Right, 2 more to go with less than 10 minutes. We can do this. I should have prepped in advance, shouldn't I? Because once you've seen me do it, you've seen me do it. So for my gorgeous silver foil rectangle beads, I am using approximately 15 centimetre lengths of wire. For my lovely little crystals, I am only using 5 centimetres of wire. Again, if I don't feel like I've got enough wire to wrap round, my other technique to do is to bring that longer length round, but making sure I knock it into the shape that I need. And by that, I mean creating that little eye at the top. Bringing the wire over once, other side, twice. Just repositioning this plier in my hands. And lastly, 3 times. Tucking in. That little end, like so. Oh, good. You might have to, Paula, says we could watch you wire wrap all day. I don't class this as wire wrapping. I'm using wire and I am wrapping, but you know, it's very, very basic. It's nothing that anyone can't do. It's just practice, and it's very much, I would say, a beginner. I'm gonna make that a little bit smaller. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna straighten that back up. And I need to make a smaller loop there. So just using the tip of my pliers to create that space between the loop and the bead, and filling that space between the bead and the loop with some little wraps, making sure it is fairly even and tucked in on both sides. One more. So I'm going to use 6 of my gorgeous silver foil beads, and I'm using 7 of my crystals, and I'm going to have my crystal sit in the middle of my necklace, and then I'm attaching each of my beads and my silver foil beads with those jump rings, just alternating in between. We've got an amazing deal on today, so everything you need in the kit to make this design is an absolute bargain. It was only £5.99, but if you want to get more than one kit, you can get the 2 for £10. And if you wanted to get more of those rectangle or square silver foil beads, then you can click on the little link at the top of the tutorial page, and that will take you through to an array of different colours. Okay, last one. Bringing that tail over, under, over, under. Cut off any excess that I might need to. Just covering it over with my finger so that little bit of wire doesn't fire off. And then with a pair of pliers, just sticking in that end so nothing catches. You can also do the same with your loops again, like I did before, where you just make sure that they're sitting nice and straight by just coming with your pliers on either end and just straightening them up. Okay, so in my kit, I've got about 20 centimetres of chain. I think that is more than enough because they do sit nice and long, these necklaces. But if you want to adjust them and make them sit higher, then you're literally just going to take less chain. So I'm going to cut it in half. So to do that, I'm going to find the midway point. So I'm going to bring the ends of my chain down together. I'm going to run it through my fingers and try and find that central loop. Just twist it a little bit, so I'll do that again. So I'm finding the midway point by bringing both ends down together. I then run it through my fingers to find that middle loop, or link rather, hold onto it, and just to check that they are even either side. I'm going to open up the link like I would a jump ring and close it back over, making sure I've closed it properly. You can get rid of that link completely if you want, but waste not, want not, as long as that link is nice and closed. I've got 2 lengths of chain now, which are the same length, and I'm going to attach on my findings. So I'm going to take my jump ring and I'm going to attach my jump ring to the last link on the chain and close that over. And I'm going to attach one on the other end. Now, what I'm going to do when I open my jump rings up is I'm only going to open it a few millimeters, maybe like 3 millimeters wide. I'm not opening it up too wide because I don't want to kind of weaken that jump ring. So I always say you don't open it outwards, you open it like towards you or away from you. But also I'm not opening it too wide because the more I open it, you know, it will weaken that link. But also if I find that I open my jump ring outwards this way, when I let go, it will kind of, if I bring it back to its meeting point, it will be harder to bring those points back together if I've opened it really wide, because it will distort the shape. But also when I bring it back, once I've let go of my pliers, it might spring open a little bit again. So I always bring it just past that point. So when I do let go, it will kind of match, if that makes sense. It will meet itself up. Camille says, tip, I put an eye pin through the last 2 loops, then hold it and it will give you a midway point. That's a really good idea. I don't have an eye pin to hand. I've got one just over there though, because I've been working on some chainmail stuff. So that is a good idea though, Camille. It's going to just give you something to grip, isn't it? So I'm just sliding that on to the last link of the chain. Also going to get one of my lobster clasps out. I promise I will speed up. I won't be keeping you too much longer. I'm going to pop my gorgeous 12mm lobster clasp onto that. So what I mean is when I've brought that back, you see I've just gone past that point. So now when I let go, it should spring closed perfectly. So now I can attach my chain together. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to position my beads. So I'm using 6 of my rectangles. Let's get myself into shot, like so. And then I'm just going to put my beads in between. So I'm going to start off with my bead, my rectangle, my crystal, my rectangle, my crystal, and I'm just going to place them in between like this. So I'm just going to take out my jump rings. You've got lots of jump rings in your pack, so you can attach them. If you want to, you can do your wrap loops and wrap them directly onto each other. That's obviously going to make it incredibly sturdy, but I do like having the jump rings kind of to connect them. I think it adds a little bit of detail onto my necklace. So I'm just attaching a jump ring onto the last link of that chain. Knew that jump ring was going to be, it was already open too wide, so I have slightly going to just give it a little wiggle so that closes properly. Again, jump ring onto the last link of the chain, and on to my first crystal, and closing that jump ring over. Now that made a lovely clicking noise. I was happy with that. And then it's just a case of attaching them all together. So let me open a few of my jump rings up just to speed me up a little bit. It's a bit quicker if they're already open. So just opening a few millimeters, say like 3 at most, just as if I was opening a door or something. It's either towards me or away from me. And then I'm going to attach the loop from my crystal onto the loop of my rectangle bead and close up. Another crystal will attach to my beautiful silver foil rectangle bead, and I'm just going to piece them all together by picking one up at a time. So I'm alternating between my crystals and my silver foil bead. So my central point is going to be this little crystal down in the middle. But again, if you wanted to change that up, if you wanted to add, you know, if you're going to get those extra silver foil beads, or you want to get 2 kits, you can mix and match your colours. You can do whatever you like with them. Taking my jump ring, attaching it onto one of the loops we've created, because we've made these lovely double connectors. I'm going to make sure that they are attached so my silver foil beads are going to sit this way at the front. Obviously your crystals will be the same back and front and all around the side, and your silver foil beads are as well, only we've created that little detail with the wire on the front, so I want that detail to be showing. So I'm just going to make sure that when I'm attaching them on, that they're sitting in the right direction. So it's a fairly quick make. I have run over slightly, excuse me, but obviously when you're creating these, you won't be talking anyone through the process, so you'll be going a lot quicker than I am. And you know, you'll have already chosen your lovely colours. So I reckon you could probably do one of these necklaces in under half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. And it is just practice with those loops. The more you do them, the better you'll get at them. And as I say, it doesn't matter if they're not absolutely perfect, as long as you have wrapped that loop around a couple of times and you have tucked in those ends, then they're going to be really, really secure. That wire is going to hold nicely. And your wire is colour remain or anti-tarnish, so you're going to have a lovely finish on them as well. So this is my beautiful necklace, but you could do whatever design you want with the wire. So as I said earlier, here I haven't taken that wire around the back. I've just brought it round the front, down the other side, and then just with my pliers, where I have a couple pliers, I've literally just come in and tightened it by putting that little zigzag kind of shape in the middle. So you can do whatever you like, and I hope you have an awful lot of fun doing them. I'm going to say, I'm going to read through any comments, because I appreciate I've been looking down on the mat there for quite a little while, so I may have missed any questions. Angela said, go turn the heating off. Oh, goodness, you know, wait till you see me, Bill. Yeah, Mina says she's got thermals on as well. Oh, Sheila, if you press on the badge, it will tell you what it means. A diamond is a top fan. So Camille's got a diamond, doesn't she? Thank you, Pauline. That's very, very kind of you. Lucy says it's a fab bargain today. Absolutely is. Your kits are £5.99 or 2 for £10. And, you know, you can get as many as you want. Sheila said, would a few small seed beads thread onto the wire wrapped around the large bead work okay, just to add more interest, not that it needs it? Sheila, yeah, absolutely. We've got the 0.6mm wire here, so providing the hole in your bead is large enough to fit onto that wire, yeah, you could definitely add some extra little lovely sparkles into that. That'd be lovely. Sheila says it looks lovely, thank you very much. Lucy says it's really lovely. Mina's asking, Lucy, did the pink one fall into your basket? Camille says it's a lovely make, thank you, Natalie. Have a lovely weekend. I don't think I've missed any questions? Nicole says she loves the colours of the necklace. So beautifully designed. Thank you so very much. Thank you to Pauline, and thank you, Joanne, as well. She says it's beautiful, easy one to achieve. Thank you, Natalie. Have a lovely day. And thank you as well to Kath. So thank you so much for joining me. I do apologise that I've ran on an extra 10 minutes. Go and have a cuppa, stay warm. Look, I'm all flushed. You'd think it was tropical outside, not snowing. I will be back with you on Monday. I'm going to be making some beautiful earrings with you on Monday, and I'm going to be doing some wire wrapping. It looks more complicated than it is, so please come and join me and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody.